Well, a lot has changed this morning since the last time I updated you guys about a day ago. We now have three area of interest and a tropical depression. Yes, this is going to be a long, crazy update, so stay to the end to know about everything that has happened. First of all, I do want to recap what's going on. This morning I woke up, we had an area of interest right here with a 70% chance that was added last night. Last night they added that with 20% chance. This morning it had a 70% chance. When I woke up, we also had this area of interest in the main development region that popped up, and this was upgraded to a 60% chance. Now, at 11 a.m., so about 30 minutes ago, we now had Tropical Depression 2 has been formed. So that is likely to become built. That means this could become Claudette. I don't know how you pronounce that, but their C letter name, and that could become or a D letter name. That would be more already well ahead and online with how 2020 been. So we're catching up with 2020 right now. Even though we're not even in a strong La Nina right now, but the conditions are pretty good for tropical development. So first off, today we're going to take a quick look at Tropical Depression 2. Then we'll look at 92L and then 94L. So just stay to the end to know everything, especially about 94L. So Tropical Depression 2 right now, winds of 35 mile per hour. Not too much. This is going to be the track. We could be seeing some impacts, especially surf-wise here. You could be getting some, so maybe don't go to the beach today. You could be getting some swells and some pretty big waves, maybe some rain with the storm, depending on how big. Right now, it looks to be it's about this big right now, cloud-wise. So maybe some impacts to the North Carolina coast and the Massachusetts coast, but nothing too bad for the East Coast. No land impact expected. So that is good news. So this is the IR loop right now of Tropical Depression 3. You can see, it's looking like a very organized storm. You've got a band forming on this side here. You've got, let me pause the video here. You've got, it looked a little better earlier, but you've got an inner core right here. As you can see, inner core rotation. You have that band on the southern side. You've got a band kind of trying to form on the northern side. It's very well organized system. I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes a tropical depression. In my opinion, this morning it looked like a tropical depression right here. It was looking really nice with that right here. You had that area of rotation. It looked really nice and firm. Right now looks a little worse. A little bit of drier, a little bit of wind shear right now affecting the storm. We're getting quite a bit of northerly wind shear on the storm and a little bit of a drier intrusion. Nothing too bad here. We're still looking at a strengthening tropical storm, and we're likely to see this being a tropical storm at the 2 p.m. update. Moving on to 92L. We've been tracking the storm for a while. I was thinking this would become Bill. It's a little questionable what's going on right now. So it looked a lot better yesterday. It's really questionable what it's doing right now, but what's happening here is I got pushed even more to the south here. So what we're looking at with this storm here is that we're having this big high pressure up north here. You can't see it on the screen, but we have this big high pressure up here, and it's continuing to drop the storm lower. We'll look at that after. But if we look at the storm right now, according to the National Hurricane Center, the center of the storm is somewhere here. Not too sure about that, but obviously it has no convection. It has this convection blow up here to the far eastern side, a little bit of convection to the far western side, a little bit of cloud stops, but really nothing much going on. I don't see too much rotation. I definitely see some rotation right here. I do see a little bit of rotation vorticity right here, so maybe the storm has moved inland. It's really questionable what's going on right now, but it's going to be meandering here for another 1 or 2 days or so. So we're still got time for this to try to get it stacked together. Right now, obviously not doing so well. But what I'm thinking is that once it does spool out in the central Gulf, it will be able to become a tropical depression. And that's what the National Hurricane Center is saying. They're saying, look, right now it doesn't look the best, but once it does spool in the central Gulf of Mexico, it's going to have a chance to really organize itself better. Now, looking at the satellite imagery, we clearly have some westerly rotation on the northern side here. We clearly have that going on. We clearly seem to have some We do seem to have some northerly rotation right here, so it's not completely open right now. I'm definitely seeing some wind like this here, so there is rotation to it. Just not much. There's some rotation right here. We're just a little open on this side. But the thing is that embedded inside of that, we have multiple areas of rotation. We have this right here, which is obviously you can see those cloud tops rotating here. Uh, and so that's a little bit of a problem here as well. So trying to get something to rotate here. But right now the center really seems to be moving onshore. I think that's what's going on. But what's likely to happen is we're going to be seeing this moving onshore and then back offshore and moving back north. So right now it's going to be a little dead for the next couple of days, but then we're going to be seeing organizing a little better. So right now we're going to look at the GFS model latest run. This is where each of our storms are. First off, looking at obviously tropical depression, as you can see, it's just going to be moving north, not much impact anywhere. 92L now, you can see on that GFS run, ends up moving inland now. The center is going to be right here. It ends up moving really inland. It actually comes back out all the way over here, which is rather interesting. A little bit like crystal ball. You can see it moves inland, and then you've got that low pressure system coming back around over here, which is rather interesting. And then we have a very weak tropical depression to tropical storm landfall, and that seems to be the trend right now. A little bit of a weaker storm. And what's keeping this down there, obviously, you can see, is that ginormous ridge right here. You've got this big ridge to the north, and that's what's been keeping the storm on the southern, on the very downbeat bit. And then we have this big ridge right here, so it's keeping the entire thing down south. And then we also have just this area right here, just kind of blocking everything off. Looking at what could soon be 94L, this is our big tropical wave coming off the coast of Africa right now. And if you look at it, it's likely to organize into a low pressure system. That's what the National Hurricane Center is saying. Now they're saying by mid next week, when it gets into the central Gulf or central mainland region, we're gonna have some pretty bad conditions with this. We're gonna have lots of wind shear, lots of dry air, and so they do see obviously dying off and kind of dying off here. But they're saying that it could develop potentially into something. I do see this potentially becoming a tropical depression to a weak tropical storm. Nothing much, obviously, no big threat where a major hurricane comes up. That's not happening with the storm. At most, a 40 to 50 mile per hour tropical storm. So maybe a weak tropical storm with this system is what we could be seeing potentially, of course. But right now, we don't have a main area rotation. We could be seeing this kind of split up into two. And then eventually we have this nice little inner core, which does end up potentially developing into a tropical system. Now, right now, my forecast for each of them, I predict a 50 mile per hour peak with tropical depression 2. I predict a 45 mile per hour peak with 92. Right now, I'm really reluctant of giving this. I used to think it could be a hurricane right now. It just looks like it's going to be a very weak system. It's still out far, still a lot of uncertainty with this. And then for this, I'm looking at a 40 mile per hour peak, maybe 45 at most. So lots of weak storm right now, but that's to be expected. We're only, June 11th, so that's totally to be expected for this time of the year. What I do want also to look at is I do want to look really quickly at the European model to see what they're showing with all of this. European model has also in a very weak storm, and not much going on with the mainland region one. So that's going to be something we will have to track. The HWRF model for Invest 92L, this is what they got going on with this. I'm just going to be showing you guys really quickly here, because I know, sometimes it can be trusted, sometimes it can't. So right now, obviously, vorticity is a little bit woppy, Again, that's what I was showing you. You got that area of vorticity moving inland, and to me, that seems to be the main area of vorticity, really. I think we can agree with that. But what they're showing is that it will move back outland. And this is really interesting because we're going to we'll still have the area of rotation right here, but then we have this mess of rotation moving inland too. It's really a mess. But it ends up really, really organizing on this HWRF model in about 36 hours or so. It really just ends up organizing and then moves back inland, falls apart, moves back outland, starts organizing again, and then looks to be moving inland. So really it's going to be looping I mean, according to the HWF model, it's going to be coming like this, moving inland, coming back out, going like this, moving back inland. Um, so it's hard to say what's going to be going on with this storm right now. Just with the looks of it, I mean, it's so uncertain and what's going to be happening. If you look at the similar IR energy, I mean, you can see a similar thing. Obviously, this is they're saying this is in about 6 hours. Then obviously, it kind of moves inland, kind of then it completely dies out a little bit for a moment here, moves back outland. I mean, it's really a mess what's gonna be happening with this storm. We really just don't know quite yet. Now, for all the systems to form, obviously we need some good ocean temperatures, and right now everything looks pretty good for the storm. You've got, I mean, let's look at the North Atlantic here. Um, you've got fairly warm temperatures for, everything right now. Uh, the main element region storm has 29, 28, 27 as it moves. It has, this one tropical depression 2 has like 26, and then it's going to be getting a little cold. And then 92L is going to be getting 28, 29 degrees. So very good temperatures for development with this storm, with both of these storms, really. So we're going to have to see how this does end up playing out. There's a good chance that the three of them form. Obviously, confidence level right now still a little low, but there's a pretty good chance that all of these do end up forming, and that would really put us ahead of some other seasons here. If all of them did end up forming, I mean, we will really be up. Uh, for the precipitation, it's still gonna be a pretty big rainmaker, as you can see from this. So don't expect to get no rain from this. It's still gonna be a fairly big rainmaker. At least the GFS model thinks so. And then for the total 24 hours, same thing. For 24 hours, it's going to be a fairly big rainmaker too. But you can see where it does comes by, we're going to be getting quite a bit of rain right here for that 24 hours when it does make that potential landfall. So we're gonna be, it's still far out, still lots of things to change, but definitely something we need to look out for. And drier should not be too bad of a problem. So what I would do if you're living in Louisiana area, do prepare for this storm, and hopefully the best does end up happening with all of these systems.